live. How about that? All right. All right. You know what? Normally I get a minute to just collect my thoughts, and then all of a sudden I look at the monitor. Hey, there I am. There's the bright orange shirt. There's my smiling face. Hey, good thing I wasn't saying something. Rah, 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 the producer all day. Rah, 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 rah. You know, that was a very dangerous moment. I could have gotten caught on a hot mic there, but hey, we're off and running, off like a herd of turtles here on Dolphins Today Live. Welcome one, welcome all, and let me know right away where you're watching from. Shout out to everybody already in the chat. It's going to be a hell of a show here on Dolphins Today. You know what? As they say in the biz, you just roll with it. You just learn to roll with it, and I got to believe it can only go up from here. So welcome one, welcome all, get comfortable, come on in, stay a while, let me know where you're watching from. Say hello to Deborah Thomas from Otter Creek, Kristen Reinhardt at work in Livermore, California. No way, Livermore, California. Is that near Hayward, California? I was just in Hayward, California not too long ago. Hello, Evander Cook. What's going on from Jacksonville? Sherry May, I love it. Already getting her Dolphins questions in. Free agent wide receivers, who to keep? All right, Kristen Reinhardt, and right away, Jack Attack Hockey with a super chat. How about that, sports fans? Say hello to Jack Attack Hockey 77. I love hockey, by the way. And good afternoon to A-Track from Fresno, California. Say hello and keep the shout-outs coming. Right now, we want to say hello to Jack Attack Hockey with the $1 super chat. And as I promised on last week's live show, we've got some awesome giveaways all set up for February. It's going to be a whale of a time. We're going to have a blast. But first, I want to say hello to today's producer helping us get on the air, building today's show, getting everything ready to go. Maybe you remember the one and only Jake Chipper from Sunday Night Football in Week 18. I believe that's the game we did together, right, Chipper?
Yes.
Yes.
I was there for that one.
Who could forget?
Who could forget?
Yeah, who could forget? You know what? We had a great time. The Dolphins on the field in that Week 18 game did not. So, Chipper, you're here to redeem yourself, my friend. How are we feeling today on a Wednesday?
Oh, I'm feeling great. The weather's getting warmer out here in Dallas. The vibes are up. The vibes are up, and this is the last time I'm going to bring it up, I promise. But what the hell happened to start the show there, man? Hey, type your F chips in the chat, all right? Type your F chips in the chat for those of you who saw that. For those of you who didn't see it, you didn't see nothing.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it, but all right, just again, this is the only time I'm going to bring it up, but normally when you go on a live show, you got a minute build up, there's a big Dolphins Today graphic, and again, Chip's way smarter than me, so I don't know how the hell it all works back there. I just count on him to take care of it, or Jeremy Chuggs, or Jack Lauderay, or who's ever running the ones and twos, and this time, all of a sudden, I popped up on the screen, and he's like, you're live.
You know, I knew the people wanted to see you immediately. I knew they were waiting.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, let's get some more shout-outs going here before we get into our Super Bowl picks. What up, Matt Hill? Let's get it. I love it. Michael Austin from Hampton, Virginia. Timon the Buckeye from Ohio. Okay, Timon the Buckeye. What's going on with the Ohio State Buckeyes? It seems like they're in a world of hurt. I won't remind you about that. But it also seems like they got a lot of good players coming in. So it'll be interesting to see how Ryan Day. Now, did Bill O'Brien already leave Ohio State? Wasn't he there for like 2 weeks and then he left? Ryan Day was like, I'm sick of him, or vice versa. Anyways, hello to Michael from Bismarck, North Dakota. Wow, tuning in all the way from North Dakota. I bet you don't see a lot of Dolphins in North Dakota. And Jack Dandridge from Floral City, Florida. Go Fins, absolutely. Brandon's watching from Charlotte. And Timon the Buckeye says, sup, Chip. There you go. You got a fan. Chris Boyd says, hello, all Dolphins fans. And let's go ahead and say hello to Matt Hill. Do you see the Dolphins signing Derrick Henry? Great question. Great question, Matt Hill. And use that hashtag Dolphins to get your questions answered at the end of today's program. We'll do an Ask Anything mailbag to wrap it up. All right, we've got a lot of things to discuss today, but we would be remiss if we don't at least get a little Super Bowl chatter going. I know our teams aren't playing, but it is the big game, and you know what? We can set our sights on where we expect to see the Dolphins next year and get a good feel on what the Super Bowl entails. So let me know who you got in the comments. Who's your pick to win the Super Bowl? Do you like Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers, or Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs? Now, I will say the Chat Sports Super Bowl coverage has been phenomenal. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the main channel of Chat Sports. They've been keeping you updated on everything, and there's a lot of storylines with everything going on at the Super Bowl, and I think it gets to the point, and I'm sure the players feel this way, but I'm just ready for the game, man. I'm just ready to kick it off. And enough about it. Like, I honestly, especially in our office, Chip, you can back me up on this. Everybody always talks about Taylor Swift and Brock Purdy. Is he a game manager? Enough of the storylines. I'm just ready for the game, you know?
Let's see some ball being played, man.
That's right.
Between the lines, out there on the field.
That's right.
Hey, it's the last one of the year. We got to enjoy it.
Yeah, Chris Boyd says he doesn't care who wins. And I got to say, I'm a little sick of the Chiefs. And the Niners have been close, but haven't gotten it done. It's such a historic franchise. I believe this would be their 6th Vince Lombardi trophy. And would that'd be the most in the NFL, right? Among all franchises? Steelers might have 6. Yeah. But, you get the point. It'd be certainly one more knock in their, or feather in their cap, if you will, for most. Yeah, Steelers have 6, most prestigious franchise. But this isn't an NFL history lesson. I'm just excited to see some ball played. But, Chip, I think you make a good point. It's the last game, and then everybody is back to being equal. Everyone's back to 0-0. Everyone's back to looking at the offseason and the draft. And no matter what happens on Super Bowl Sunday, I think it's exciting to kind of get into offseason mode. Oh, Sherry May coming in with the $5 super chat. You love to see it. And she wants to see Kansas City lose. And speaking of seeing the game, let's say maybe you got some crazy plans to fly out to Vegas and go see the big game. Well, you better use the Game Time app, today's proud presenting sponsor of Dolphins Today. The Game Time app is the only app you'll need for all your live events, and that includes football games, basketball, baseball, any sporting event you can think of, concerts, and every other live event. And I'm telling you what, they specialize in the lowest price guaranteed, even if it is last minute. As always, new customers get $20 off their first purchase with that promo code FINSCHAT. But I got another deal for you for the big game. I know tickets are expensive, but Game Time is proud to offer $100 off to both new and existing customers for the big game. And all you have to use is that promo code Vegas100. And look, I know tickets are crazy expensive. What's $100 when you're spending X grand on a ticket? Well, I'll tell you what, $100 in Vegas, you could turn that into $200. Just throw it on red and roulette. You could maybe have a couple rounds of drinks at the casinos. There's a lot you could do with $100. Still, at the end of the day, $100 is $100. Maybe it'll cover your Uber drive. But either way, $100 off if you use the Game Time app for your ticket to the big game. And remember, that's new and existing customers. All you have to do is use Vegas100. And as always, we got the $20 off for your first purchase using that promo code FINSCHAT for new customers. And yeah, show some love to the Miami Heat. Big win the other night. And the NBA trade deadline coming up. The Heat gearing up for a postseason run. And then, of course, as always, all of your live events needs are at Game Time. So download the Game Time app, use that promo code FINSCHAT, terms to apply, but take the stress out of buying tickets by using that Game Time app with the lowest price, even if it's last minute, guaranteed. All right, Sherry May. Big shout out to Sherry May with the super chat wanting Kansas City to lose. Oh, man, I love it. I'm sick of the Chiefs as well. I'm not a fan of either franchise. Obviously, I'm a Dolphins fan, and I would expect it to be a great game. I think, obviously, Patrick Mahomes is the guy that it's tough to bet against, but up and down that roster, the San Francisco 49ers are loaded, but they do need to play their A game, and they haven't played their A game in their 2 playoff games. The Lions had them on the ropes, gagged that one away. They had a 24-7 lead. The Packers had them on the ropes in the second round of the playoffs, and they choked that one away. So Niners definitely need to kind of hit the reset button and go out and play their A game if they're going to win this one. But, all right, I promised all of our Dolphins Today loyal followers and loyal community that we're spicing some things up in the month of February. And anytime we promise something on Dolphins Today, we delivered. So we've got some February promos, and we're going to work through these one by one. Our Hall of Fame helmet, in fact, that's going to be the entire off season. Now listen up. Here's how this is going to work. You are going to have the opportunity to win our Dolphins off-season Hall of Fame helmet. And look at that photo right there. Oh, my goodness. That is awesome. But you know what's even better than a photo? Yeah, we were prepared. And ladies and gentlemen, I got it right here. It is our Hall of Fame Dolphins helmet. And you're probably wondering, Riepma, stop blabbing about the helmet. Tell us how we can win this helmet. Here's what's going to happen. So, $50 super chat is going to get your name on a sticker that is going to go on the helmet. Think of it like a pride sticker. We're going to fill this bad boy up with names on the helmet, and then at the end of the offseason, we are going to raffle it off to everybody who has their name on the helmet. So just like we've done with our raffles in the past, $50 super chat gets you a sticker on the helmet and also serves as a ticket into our drawing. So there's the Hall of Fame helmet. Who doesn't want to go home with this awesome centerpiece for your dining room table? Maybe in a man cave, woman cave, sports cave, upstairs cave, whatever. This replica Dolphins helmet is going to look sharp no matter where you display it. Yeah, that's right. It's the official one, baby. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good stuff there. So, again, $50 super chat gets your name on a pride sticker, and then we're going to fill this bad boy up with pride stickers. So, who wants to be the first to get on the Dolphins Hall of Fame helmet? All it takes is a $50 super chat. Now, let's say Venmo's more your thing. Well, I picked this one out myself because I'm a huge bobblehead fan. We've got a Dan Marino bobblehead that we're raffling off at the end of the month for February. And just like we did if you were with us for the regular season, a $20 Venmo gets you a ticket into our February raffle. So Venmo at Jake-Riepma, $20, and you're entered to win that Uncle Dan Marino bobblehead. And Chip, could you throw that photo back up there of the Dan Marino bobblehead? Because, listen, I'm a action figure bobblehead nerd. Like, I have over 75 bobbleheads, and what's neat about this one, check out the base that Dan Marino is standing on. It's actually a replica of the Dolphins' old stadium. So how about that? 2-1, Dan Marino on top of the world. And, oh, by the way, it's an awesome-looking bobblehead as well. All it takes, $20 Venmo. That gets you in for the raffle. Now, if you're not excited, you don't have a pulse, but I'm going to excite you one more time because our February MVP, that's right, whoever super chats the most in the month of February, oh yeah, we're getting you a custom Miami Dolphins jersey, any name you want on the back, and we will wear it on the show. Just think of the Chad Jones signature jersey. We're adding an off-season jersey addition to it. If you want that custom Dolphins jersey to be displayed proudly on the show, we're giving it out to our February MVP. So whoever super chats the most in the month of February becomes our February MVP. Now, obviously, we do one live show a week, so you got to make your bang for your buck on those Wednesdays at 4:30 Eastern Time. And, if Chip's producing more like 435, I'm just kidding, brother. I love you, man. I love you, Chip. It was on me, too. We had some technical difficulties. I just like giving him a hard time. But, all right. So, let's just review. Hall of Fame helmet, $50 gets you a sticker on the helmet. And with the stickers, your name on the sticker, you're also entered into the raffle for $50 for this bad boy. Then, next, our Uncle Dan Venmo raffle for the Dan Marino bobblehead. So, $20 Venmo to @Jake-Riepma gets you into the raffle for the Uncle Dan Marino bobblehead. And last but certainly not least, a February MVP custom Dolphins jersey if you want to get in on that. So lots of good stuff. And as always, if you want to be a part of it, we love having you a part of Dolphins Today in the community that we are, the community that we've built. And this is just one way we want to give back and thank you for your kind and generous support over the entire season, because what a season it's been. And this channel has continued to grow and continued to grow all season long. We had over 12,000 new subscribers. So if you're one of those new subscribers, shout out to you. That put us over 55.5. So huge, huge progress and tremendous work by the entire channel. Shout out to everybody. Our off-season goal, can we get to 60,000 subscribers? It's a stretch goal. I'm not going to lie. It is a big, big stretch goal, but I believe that we can get there. All right, want to say hello to Firefighter 841 and Tom Kiger from New Smyrna Beach. That's also the hometown of Raheem Mostert. So how about that, sports fans? Look at that. All right, as the title of today's live show would suggest, we got a lot to get into, so we're going to do that. But before we do, how about you smash that like button for me? We only have 25 likes. Can we get to 40?
What are we doing?
Chip, tell them why they should like the video.
What are we doing? We got some tremendous topics to get to today, and it doesn't seem like you're all too excited about it, huh? You don't want to talk Dolphins, huh? Riepma's got some amazing stuff cooked up.
Yes.
I know y'all want to hear about it.
Because it's a Wednesday in the offseason, and that means I'm going to bat for Tua. Every week I got to go to bat for Tua because I hear all the chatter all week online, trade Tua, don't re-sign him. Well, you know what? Part of today's show is me going to bat for Tua Tagovailoa. So like today's video, doesn't cost you anything, takes 2 seconds, and helps us reach more and more Dolphins fans. So we got 30 likes. We're not starting the video until we get to 40. How about that, sports fans? Can we do it? You got to get to 40 likes, like that video, otherwise it's going to get awkward. I will admit, it got a little awkward last week when I had to beg for likes, and we don't want the like to police to come out here. Woo, woo, woo. Woo! All right, Chip, let's show them what we got going on today's show. That's right. I've got my first installment of a Jake Riepma mock draft 1.0. And don't worry if you're thinking, I'm not going through every single round. Don't worry. We're only going to do 4 picks because I feel really good about the 4 picks I made using the Pro Football Focus draft simulator. So it's very realistic. It simulates all kinds of possible outcomes. And then from that, you have to select what players are still available on the big board. So I put that together this morning, my first rendition of a mock draft. And then we'll talk about the Dolphins quarterback situation and who the future will be leading the Aqua and Orange under center. I've got a lot of spicy, hot takes on that for you. And as always, an Ask Anything mailbag. So we're 2 likes away, and we got over 80 people watching. So that means half of you have not liked the video. Help me out because we're ready. I even see the intro built up in the stack this time instead of just my face popping up there. That's great stuff. All right, King Chili says, come on, guys, just get to it. We're not sheep here. Just tell the news. Stop begging for likes. All right, King Chili. This one's for King Chili. King Chili and the rest of the sheep. All right, let's get to the news. Coming up next, it's my first installment of a mock draft from the Miami Dolphins. Let's do it. one of my favorite things to do is to put the thinking cap on, put the mock draft hat on, put up the big board, and figure out who the Dolphins are drafting in the upcoming 2024 NFL Draft. And I know Chris Greer is a big fan of this show, and the rest of the Dolphins front office are. They're probably watching and diligently taking notes, as they should be, because I'm about to spew some wisdom and let them know who they should be picking and who can help the Miami Dolphins take the next step in the upcoming season. So, as we always do, we start with the Dolphins draft capital for the upcoming 2024 NFL Draft. And barring any kind of trade or any funny business, here's where the Dolphins stand. First time in 3 years, the Dolphins have a first-round pick. Great place to start, huh? 21st overall, jump to the second round, picking 23rd in that round for the 55th overall pick. And no pick in round 3. Thanks a lot, Sean Payton, and the tampering allegation and violation from this team. So no pick in round 3, no pick in round 4 per that Bradley Chubb trade. Back on the board in round 5, 2 and 6, 1 and 7 for a total of 6 picks. So get out your notebook and take some notes. And as always, when the Miami Dolphins and the rest of the organization get ready to pull out their big board and fill out their draft, we'll have you covered from every single angle. That's why you subscribe for all of your Dolphins draft coverage. Subscribe to the channel as we continue to build and build. You don't want to miss anything like today's mock draft. So here we go. Part of an important mock draft is identifying positions of need. I think the Dolphins have plenty of those, starting up front with the offensive line. I think the linebacker and edge rushing position is a huge position of need for the Miami Dolphins, especially when you consider the fact that Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Andrew Van Ginkel all ended the season injured last year, and Andrew Van Ginkel, a pending free agent, Bradley Chubb, torn ACL, Jalen Phillips, blown out Achilles. So, edge rusher, obviously very important. We talked about Jerome Baker yesterday. He might not be back with the club as he's a free agent. So, linebacker and edge on the defensive side of things, very, very important. The wide receiver room could use some depth because over 60% of the production from the wide receiver room was done by Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. I'm not pointing out the obvious there because we all kind of know that Tua likes those two receivers, and in order to really take the next step on the offensive side of things, you got to add some depth to the wide receiver room. And depending on what happens in free agency, that defensive line position group could use some boosting as well if Christian Wilkins does not re-sign. And last but certainly not least, depending on what happens with Xavier Howard, you'd like to see the cornerback room improve. That said, there's also the big giant question mark around Cam Smith as he didn't play his rookie season. So, buckle up, dial it in, and let's get going with our round 1 pick, Jake Riepma's Mock Draft 1.0. And with the 21st overall pick in round 1, the Miami Dolphins select Laiatu Latu, linebacker, edge rusher out of UCLA, the reigning Naismith Player of the Year in college football. He's been an absolute menace for opposing defenses. A lot of his draft profile talked about him being the most capable pass rusher in this draft, and also the versatility to be able to play linebacker. Now, like any draft prospect, there's some areas to improve, such as maybe his ability to take on blockers, but he's regarded as the most dominant pass rusher in this draft, and as I mentioned, the Lombardi Award winner in 2023. Now, his projection, I've seen it as high as the top 10. I've also seen kind of the middle rounds, but in this instance, again, using the Pro Football Focus simulator that realistically takes into account what could happen with tons of different possible outcomes, when I did my draft simulation, Laiatu Latu was there at 21, and I think if the Dolphins can get him at 21, that would be a steal. He's drawn some player comparisons and pro comps to DeMarcus Lawrence. So my goodness, if the Dolphins can get him with 21, I think that fits the need, and it also adds a dynamic pass rusher that can change the game and ultimately be a day 1 starter. So get out your red pen and first round pick in the books. Let me know what you think. Grade the pick for me, A, B, C, D, or F. What do you give this grade if the Dolphins go with Laiatu Latu out of UCLA, the linebacker and edge rusher that is a dynamic pass rusher and reigning Lombardi Award winner in college football. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about our second round pick and continue to work through our mock draft here on Dolphins Today. But first, I want to give a huge shout out to today's presenting sponsor, the only ticketing app you'll ever need because it's the best. And I'm talking live events, I'm talking concerts, I'm talking football, basketball, baseball seasons coming up. Whatever it is, Game Time provides the lowest price for all of your ticketing needs, and that is a guarantee, my friends. Take the stress out of buying tickets. And oh, yeah, that's right. New customers get $20 off when you download the app and create an account using that promo code FINSCHAT. Now, don't worry. We put the quote in the comments and description of today's video. It's promo code FINSCHAT. And don't forget about the big game coming up. If you happen to be going there, Game Time is the only app you'll need. Use that promo code VEGAS100. New and existing customers get $100 off a ticket to the big game using that promo code Vegas100. $100 is $100, man. Use that in Vegas, maybe at the craps table, maybe at the blackjack table. Either way, $100 is still $100. Use that promo code Vegas100. So take the stress out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app. Terms do apply. Use that promo code FINSCHAT. If you're a new customer or new and existing customers, use that promo code Vegas100 for tickets to the big game. All right, now, the Dolphins are on the clock in the second round. You start to think, okay, you went linebacker, edge rusher in the first round. You went defense in the first round. Who do you want to go in the second round? And based on his Senior Bowl, I love Christian Haynes out of Uconn. He's a guard, and at that pick number 53, he's regarded as one of the top linemen in this draft, and based on what he did in the Senior Bowl, if you can get him in the second round, that would be a steal, because you talk about how good he was as a player for Uconn. Really, really impressive. And again, he was on my Senior Bowl draft targets that we talked about earlier, and what a tremendous job he did in the Senior Bowl. Christian Haynes could add a need to the offensive line. He's regarded as a very athletic lineman, which I like in Mike McDaniel and Frank Smith's system offensively. And in 2023, he only allowed 1 sack. So, again, if he's available in the second round, I think you snag him without hesitation. 1, he's a great player. 2, he fits the need of the offensive line, depending on what happens with Connor Williams and Rob Hunt in the offensive line. We know there are some potential holes in the offensive line, so you look at what Christian Haynes could add as far as a value right away, and maybe he's Connor Williams' replacement, maybe he's Rob Hunt's replacement, or maybe he's a guy that you throw in to the rotation, because this is a Dolphins offensive line that started 12 different rotations in the regular season in this past year. So obviously some injury concerns with the Dolphins offensive line, and Christian Haynes could be a guy to really help. So make sure you remember that name, Christian Haynes, and let me know what you think. Do you like the pick of Christian Haynes? Type Y for yes or N for no. Again, UConn not really a power in terms of a college football program, but Christian Haynes impressed a lot of people with his ability at the Senior Bowl. Now, luckily, we use Pro Football Focus as a simulator, and they give you a grade. So my grades this morning, and I promise you these are accurate, the Laiatu Latu pick, Pro Football Focus gave me an A- for that pick, and Christian Haynes, same thing. So we're off to a rip-roaring good start. A-is across the board in our first 2 picks, and that's coming from an unbiased source in Pro Football Focus. So if you haven't yet used the simulator, this is how it works. I get an A-, but you know what? I'm still more curious what you think of the picks. Now, we know there's no pick in round 3 or 4, so jump all the way down to round 5 for the Miami Dolphins. That's where Theo Johnson comes off the board with pick number 158, the tight end out of Penn State. He had 7 touchdowns in 2023, and this is a tight end class that there are a lot of impact players in the tight end class. You look at, obviously, at the very top, Brock Bowers out of Georgia, projected to be certainly a first-round pick, but perhaps even a top 10 pick. Guys like Jared Wiley and Eric All out of Iowa. He was originally with Michigan, Eric All, that is, transferred to Iowa. They might fall a little bit lower, but Theo Johnson, if he's available in that 5th round, I think you go ahead and snag him, especially when you consider his overall big board. Yes, he's a big boy too, but his overall big board ranking is right below that 158 mark. So if you're able to snag him in the 5th round, that'd be a huge, huge win for the Miami Dolphins. So with that said, the Dolphins in my mock draft have addressed the linebacker position, offensive line, and tight end. And now we jump ahead to the 6th round already. That's where Marcus Harris comes off the board with pick number 186, defensive lineman out of Auburn. And when you look at Marcus Harris's production, I think there's a lot to be excited about, but there's also reasons why he's projected to fall all the way to the 6th round. And that's not to say he can't help the team right away as a 6th round pick. After all, he is first team All SEC, or he was first team All SEC this past year. And he has a lot of positive characteristics about his draft status, such as his ability of playing multiple defensive line alignments, also the ability to get pressure on the quarterback, and at times, sometimes scouts would say he gets a little lost in run block or in run defense, so that'd be an area he needs to improve on. And check out the bottom line there. His weakness, also part of his draft profile, lacks functional arm length to lock out blockers at the point of attack, and some draft stocks have said he's a little bit undersized as well. So Marcus Harris, not necessarily a pick that's going to move the needle, but again, this is what Pro Football Focus is giving me on my grades for my mock draft. They gave Theo Johnson, the tight end out of Penn State, a B+, and Marcus Harris in the 6th round, a B. So let me know what you think. Grade my first mock draft, because like I said, for time's sake, we're going to go with the first 4 picks. We'll do a full mock draft at some point in the offseason, but a little bit at a time, right? Piece by piece. I don't want to give you everything right at once. Scale it for me in the comments. Grade my mock draft. Give me 1 through 10. 10 if you loved it, 1 if you hated it. Let me know either way, because I love getting your feedback. And that, my friends, is the first edition, first of many mock drafts for the Miami Dolphins offseason. We'll do it again, but right now I need your comments on my mock draft. Scale it for me 1 through 10 in the comments. And until next time, that's been our Miami Dolphins mock draft. All right, what do we think of that mock draft? Had to work our way through there. Sherry May makes a great point. We'll know a lot more after the combine. That is true.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times, Chip, and you can back me up on this, you get the pre-combine scout rankings with the Senior Bowl, the body of work during the college football season, and then people test at the combine. And scouts, myself, you, everybody in the media, they see somebody run in shorts and a T-shirt, and they're like, wow, this guy's going to fly up draft boards. Or maybe an L-drill isn't as good, or the 5-10-5 isn't as good, and send them down the draft board.
It's crazy. It's crazy how much one workout can change what you saw from a whole body of work on film over a season.
I'm a big tape guy. I will not lie. I've always been that way. Put it on
the tape, man.
Yeah, show me the tape. Show me the tape. Show me the tape. I don't care how fast they can. Well, obviously I care a little bit, but I don't place as high of an emphasis on the combine. In fact, I used to play with guys when I played college ball that we call them combine warriors, man. They look great on the combines with the stopwatches and can bench 225 1,000 times. But you get them out on the football field, what kind of football player are they? I want to know what kind of football player you are, right? Let me know what the pads sound like between the white lines.
Yes, sir.
Shout out Chad Jones is in the chat. What up, Chad Jones? Perfect timing because we got to run through everything we got going in the month of February as far as our February promotions. So here we go. First and foremost, this is going to be all off-season long. We are raffling off a Miami Dolphins replica helmet, and here's how it works. $50 gets your name on a sticker, and one of these stickers goes on the helmet, and we fill it up like pride stickers because we've got nothing but pride here at Dolphins Today. So that's a $50, and then at the end of the offseason, we will raffle it off. Secondly, a Venmo raffle for an Uncle Dan Marino bobblehead. That's right, $20 on the Venmo gets you into the raffle. Our last live show for February, we will declare a winner, $20 on the Venmo. And Chipper, show him that Venmo. Thank you very much. It's at Jake-Riepma. Let me see if I've gotten any Venmos for that. I have not. So, you know what? First person to Venmo. What do you know? You're going to be at least the betting favorite to go home with that Uncle Dan Marino bobblehead. And last but certainly not least, our February MVP, whoever Super Chats and Venmos combined, I should have said that, Super Chat and Venmo combined, so that way you're always working for that February MVP, you will get a custom jersey with your name on it for Dolphins Today. All right. The goods. And listen, I had to go to bat with the Chat Sports bosses to be, get that budget nice and big so we could come home with the good stuff. And that, my friends, I believe, is what we've got cooking on Dolphins Today. Nothing but the good stuff right here. I want to put this helmet on and strap it up and, maybe do an Oklahoma drill here with producer Chip. Although he's a quick one. I believe he played some slot wide receiver in his day, although I think I could jam him at the line. No chance. Oh, no, I get it going with the feet. It's just like your water skiing. All right, I love it, guys. I love it. How we feeling in the chat? We got a couple more segments to do today. Shout out Chris Boyd. Give me the 9 on my first mock draft. That's out of 10. So good stuff there. Shout out to Franklin Stubbs. Good afternoon. Welcome in. Every Noodle. How we doing, my friend? Imagine if we get Brendan Rice. Yes, there we go. Chad Jones, shout out Chad Jones, saying Chipper called me out. Listen, Chipper and I sit right next to each other here at Chat Sports headquarters, and there's not a guy I love more, but there's also not a guy I wouldn't love to get out with the pads on more. I think that would just be, that would be Chat Sports. We get a camera crew, me versus Chip, a couple of one-on-ones. I'm telling you, I would lock this guy down. Who would you choose for your quarterback?
Oh, Chase Sr. Easily Chase Sr.
Chase Sr., 100%.
Okay. He can toss a rock 50-plus yards. Confirmed.
I've heard Mitchell Renz and Chase Sr. both talk about how far they can throw the football.
Well, one time Chase runs the 49ers channel here. Somebody got a little super chat. We went out in the parking lot. They said he couldn't throw the ball 50 yards. We went out on stream and did it. And he surpassed. We measured it and everything.
50 yards.
He surpassed the 50-yard mark on stream.
Interesting.
So I'm taking him.
Interesting. All right, we got another super chat coming in from Sherry May. We need an Aqua Club shout out. Yes, we do. I'll get producer Chip on that in just a moment because, as always, I'm showing nothing but love to the Aqua Club because that's what it's all about here on Dolphins Today. Shout out to the Aqua Club. Everybody in the Aqua Club. I love the Aqua Club. And Chipper, if you go into Dolphins graphics and pull up my Aqua Club, we can get them on screen right here. And Sherry May, that is why you are Dolphins Today MVP, because you get it. And you reminded Chipper that, hey, we need to show some love to our Dolphins Aqua Club members. Should be in listicles, I believe. And we are going to do that before we start the next segment because that's what it's all about. And look at that. That is why Chip is the best, man. Unbelievable. Shout out producer Chip. The Aqua Club. This is going to take a while because our Aqua Club continued to grow and grow and grow, which is what it's all about. So here we go. Roll call for the Aqua Club members. Chad Jones, Lord Buddy Bear, David Breakout, Mystical, Robert Fritz, Gerald Stokes, Jason Nugel, Nicholas Dixon, Brian Badass Acock, Dana Respress, and the list keeps going and going and going. Gary Hall, CJ Gutierrez, Jason R., Champion 2038, Dance King, Firefighter 841, Sherry May, Landon, and there we go. That's all of them. Shout out to the Aqua Club. Aqua Club. Aqua Club. Aqua Club. We love the Aqua Club here on Dolphins Today. Amazing stuff. Great stuff all the way. And look, we got a lot more to get into. I could praise the Aqua Club until nightfall, but whew, we don't have enough. There's not enough hours in the day to praise the Aqua Club. They're the best. There's nothing like it. So, but we'll do another Aqua Club roll call after this segment. Chip, we got another segment to get into. It's going to be good stuff. Not too late to get in on our February promos. $50 gets your name on the helmet and a chance to win it. $20 on the Venmo gets you into the Dan Marino bobblehead raffle. And our overall February MVP is getting a custom Dolphins jersey. So here we go. How's everyone feeling? Chip, how you feeling? I love it. Let's do it again. Coming up, we are talking about the future of the Dolphins quarterback position. A hotly contested subject matter, even though I think there's a right answer and a wrong answer. Either way, we'll bring it to you next. All right, it's everybody's favorite topic. Who will be calling the signals for the Miami Dolphins and the future of the Aqua and Orange under center? And we all know about the narrative around Tua Tagovailoa. I have been loud, I have been constant, I have been steadfast in my belief of Tua, and nothing's changing. Take a look at the bottom there, 2009 to 2019. Yep, that's 10 years, one winning season. But since drafting Tua Tagovailoa, the Dolphins have had 4 straight winning seasons. And save it, I've heard every argument. He can't win the big game, no playoff wins. I've heard all of them. And don't worry, buckle up, dial it in. We're going to break it all down, starting with what the boss had to say about Tua Tagovailoa and his pending contract situation. As a reminder, Tua will be the Dolphins optioned him for his 5th year of that rookie contract, and as of now, he would be playing on that 5th year of his rookie contract. But we know that Chris Grier, the Dolphins front office, and Tua Tagovailoa and his people are working on a new contract. Chris Grier said we've stayed in touch with his agent, had good conversations throughout the year. The goal is to have him here long term. So what does that all look like? Well, here's a look at Tua's current contract. He's set to make $23.2 million in that 5th year that I talked about. But if you restructure him, it's actually going to help the salary cap situation and could as much as $10 million, depending on the deal, lower that cap hit with the restructuring of a deal. That would also give the Dolphins the flexibility to perhaps franchise tag someone else, hint Christian Wilkins, and be able to keep him on the roster for another year. So, with that said, there's a lot of conversation to be had about Tua Tagovailoa and what he means to this team. And again, it's everybody's favorite discussion topic because it seems like every video we do, there's always a comment on it. So let's ask Tua himself, what does he think? Earlier this month, he was quoted saying, "I believe that will happen in regards to a contract extension." So good news there if you're in the Tua camp like I firmly am. Here's one thing I can promise and I can guarantee, that when some news happens with Tua Tagovailoa, maybe it's a new contract or maybe it's something crazy, you never know, you don't want to miss out. So make sure you've subscribed to the channel as we continue to grow on Dolphins Today. You don't want to miss a single thing, especially as it relates to the pending contract conversations with Tua Tagovailoa. Now, in this conversation, you got to take inventory on where Tua was as a quarterback in 2023. Led the NFL in passing, not bad. Second most yards per attempt, only behind Brock Purdy, who, oh yeah, by the way, is playing in the Super Bowl. Also not bad. Third in completion percentage, nearly 70%. Very good. And the 3rd best quarterback rating. Touchdown passes were tied for the 5th most. Now, again, I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not a genius. I'm not Vince Lombardi, but I think that's pretty damn good, and the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And everybody that wants to ship Tua off, I'd love to hear your ideas for your replacements. So I'm going to ask you this question, keep it pretty simple. Do you want Tua to be the Dolphins quarterback in 2024? Type Y for yes or N for no. And I know what the naysayers are going to say. He didn't beat any good teams, but that's a part of the conversation as well. So I respect that opinion. And again, we are going to evaluate some different options at quarterback. But let me be clear of one thing. Me, Jake Patrick Flanagan Riepma, yeah, Tua is my guy, and I believe he will be the guy leading the Miami Dolphins in 2024. But because I believe in maybe humoring you all or having these fun conversations and discussing what the other possibilities are, let's go ahead and break down some possible Tua Tagovailoa replacements, starting with the free agent quarterback himself, Kirk Cousins, a proven veteran in the National Football League, an accurate passer that, again, would fit Mike McDaniel's offense. I will give you that. Now, he is coming off that torn Achilles that he suffered back in Week 8 at Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers. But there's a connection with Mike McDaniel as the organization that drafted Kirk Cousins, the then Washington Redskins, now Washington Commanders, before that Washington football team. We'll just say Washington from hence on forward to save everybody the confusion. You get the idea. Spent some time with Mike McDaniel in Washington, and since has gone on to put together quite the career. Look at the numbers. 150 games played, 270 touchdowns compared to 110 interceptions. Well done. And you also have to look at the trajectory of Kirk Cousins. Seems to get better and better every single year, like a fine wine. Now, you read The Athletic, and you've got anonymous NFL executives talking about the Miami Dolphins, saying they should explore the idea of bringing Kirk Cousins in. Check this out. And again, it's from an anonymous NFL executive saying, if he were the Miami Dolphins, I would be exploring Tua. We can win games with him. Probably not winning a championship. But with Kirk Cousins, we can win games. Also goes on to say, probably not winning a championship, but our resources are better spent on Cousins plus draft picks than they are on just Tua. So very interesting because, again, I'm not going to call that opinion crazy. After all, it's an NFL executive. But chime on in the comments, who do you want leading the Miami Dolphins in 2024? If it's what I believe, Tua Tagovailoa, type TT, or for Kirk Cousins, go ahead and type KC. Either way, let your voice be heard and let me know down in the comments. Now, we're going to continue to break this down because there's other options than just Tua or Kirk Cousins. We'll tell you what those are next. But first, I want to give a huge shout out to today's presenting sponsor. So glad to have Mando on board. You got to go to shopmando.com and look. I know New Year's resolutions are a popular thing in January, but I'll tell you what, smelling good and smelling your best, utilizing the best hygiene is a great option no matter what month it is. So whether your New Year's resolution was hitting the gym or overall better hygiene or maybe just vowing to keep things cool and fresh below the belt, Mando, the whole body deodorant, has got your back and your front. So if you suffer from stinky feet, stinky pits, or even a stinky package, yuck, Mando is doctor-developed, clinically proven to block odor all day and control it for up to 72 hours so you can be bulletproof and be yourself, knowing the peace of mind of 72-hour protection and odor control because you deserve the best in 2024, a year of revolutionary, groundbreaking acidic formula that works on your pits, package, feet, and beyond. So say goodbye to last year's stink and upgrade to a whole new level of personal care with Mando whole body deodorant so your pits and everything else will smell your absolute best. And oh yeah, the good news, what you've all been waiting for, that discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling body deodorant on the market. $5 off your starter pack with our exclusive code CHAT. And don't worry, that $5 equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you use that code CHAT, C-H-A-T, at shopmando.com. That's S-H-O-P Mando, Mando.com, shopmando.com for $5 off that starter pack. I'm telling you what, you won't regret it. It's over 40% savings. And what do we always tell you here? We love you and we care about you. So we'll put that link right in the comments and description of today's video. It's shopmando.com using promo code CHAP. All right, the Dolphins' next quarterback. We can all agree that there's a discussion to be had here. I gave you Tua as my number one option. Kirk Cousins is out there as a free agent. What about the proposition of drafting a quarterback? Because there are some quarterbacks that maybe might fall through the cracks to that later first round and even maybe late second round. So let's break it down for some potential draft quarterback targets. And again, I think the Combine will tell us a lot about these potential first-round quarterbacks, but let's get it started with Bo Nix, one of the most accurate passers in all of college football, played at first Auburn, then transferred to Oregon, where he really broke out. His father played in the NFL, and when you look at his body of work, the stats really do jump out to you. 45 touchdowns compared to 3 interceptions, second most accurate passer in the history of college football, and a lot of draft experts will tell you he might be available with that number 21 overall pick. So perhaps you set the future of the franchise up with a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix. Certainly a conversation to be had there. Now, the same can be said about J.J. McCarthy. That's right, reigning national champion J.J. McCarthy, the quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines, led the Wolverines to a national championship, and his numbers not nearly as impressive. He wasn't asked to do as much as a guy like Bo Nix, but certainly possesses first-round talent. And Jim Harbaugh, his college coach, who is now the head coach for the Los Angeles Chargers, said he should be the first quarterback taken. I, for one, do not believe that, but if he's still around at 21, he's dynamically athletic, one of the most athletic quarterbacks in the draft, and possesses the ability to be a first-round pick given his accomplishments in college. So an appealing option if he's available there at 21. But based on a lot of the mock drafts that you read, I don't necessarily think he'll be available at 21, so it might take a trade to move up if you want J.J. McCarthy as your guy. Now, last but certainly not least, Michael Penix Jr. A lot of conversation around him. In my opinion, I think he should have won the Heisman. No disrespect to Jaden Daniels, because statistically, Jaden Daniels was way, way better, but I think Michael Penix Jr. got his team to the national championship, and that should count for something, and was one of the most outstanding players in college football. Now, the thing with Michael Penix Jr. is you look at that semifinal game against Texas, he was shooting up draft boards, and then in the national championship game on a big stage against Michigan, he did not really elevate his level of play. So that might have some college scouts, or NFL scouts rather, concerned. Also, there's some injury history there, almost even retired from football because of all the injuries. So one more thing to have in the back of your mind if you were to slip to you at 21 and maybe even into the second round, because he's another wild card that has kind of been dancing up and down draft boards as we progress here. So the option of drafting a quarterback early, in my opinion, brings you to Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, or Michael Penix Jr., and I want you to pick one to draft if you're the Miami Dolphins and you want to replace Tua Tagovailoa. And again, let me be clear, I don't want to do that, but hey, there's a discussion to be had about potentially the Dolphins moving up to draft a quarterback in the first round, and I think these would be the three options, because you're not moving up to number one to get Caleb Williams. Drake May and Jaden Daniels also going to be too much to move up to get to, so that leaves you with these three, and again, none of them I'm particularly excited enough about to really mortgage the future of the Dolphins organization. Now, if Michael Penix, this is the big if, Michael Penix Jr. falls all the way to number 53 and is still around, maybe that's tempting. But again, that's a big if, and even then, there's obviously a reason 52 other picks passed on the guy to make him available at 53. So that's the only caveat to add to the conversation of drafting a quarterback. Now, one more free agent that is particularly intriguing, given he's coming off his best season as a pro, Baker Mayfield. Now, let me again say first and foremost, I think he will re-sign with the Buccaneers. There's a lot of exciting momentum around that organization. They really overachieved when you think about the fact that they got to the playoffs. They won a playoff game and beating the Philadelphia Eagles before losing to the Detroit Lions. And Baker Mayfield really played his best in 2023. Now, you look at the stats, and it's a guy that maybe warrants the conversation to be had about investing in him. He's really reinvented himself after struggling so much after being the number 1 overall pick to the Browns and then bouncing around to the Rams, now to the Buccaneers. And when you think about the fact that his career seems to be trending up, yeah, there's a conversation to be had here. But interestingly enough, with Tampa Bay, there's a lot to consider here as well. As a team, they're coming off one of their better seasons, and Baker Mayfield coming off his best season. But with success means a lot of changes in the coaching staff, because you have David Canales moving on to Carolina to be the head coach there. And so you have the new offensive coordinator in Tampa Bay and Liam Cohen. And Baker Mayfield has been very public saying that hire might impact his decision on whether or not to re-sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the fact that Baker played with Cohen in 2022 as a member of the Rams, I think would point to him re-signing with the Buccaneers. But nonetheless, an intriguing conversation to have. So let me know what you think. Grade the idea of the Dolphins pursuing Baker Mayfield. Do you think it's an A+ idea? Full steam ahead, go for it. Or if you're like me, it's more like a D or an F and not really something that the Aqua and Orange in the front office should do. Either way, let me know down in the comments. We want to have your voice heard here on Dolphins Today. And just in case I haven't made it clear enough, I am firmly in the Tua camp. This is a guy that can lead the Miami Dolphins to success. This is a guy that deserves to have a new contract, that deserves to be treated and regarded as a premier upper echelon quarterback, given his ability to be accurate with the football and of course, a quick release, a great deep ball, all fitting into Mike McDaniel and Frank Smith's scheme. I believe in Tua Tagovailoa. And so much to the fact that I think he deserves that 4-year, $180 million contract. Let Tua know, let his people know that you believe in him to lead this Miami Dolphins offense. You believe in him as the future of the franchise. Make 100 of that million guaranteed, and let's go to work in 2024 with Tua Tagovailoa leading the way. Jake Chipper. Oh, there it goes. I was holding on to that one. There's no cough button here. There's no sneeze button.
Unfortunately not.
Oh, man. Chip, I felt it coming. I just had to hold on to get that through that cut.
Oh, that was a strong performance right there, holding on to that one.
Whoa. All right. How we doing? Chad Jones with an interesting comment here. Waddle was going to be our number 1 until Chris went and blew money on Tyreek Hill instead of an O-line. Chad! Tyreek Hill has been one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, although I always say this, he did have the highest drop rate of any receiver in the NFL. We got to make sure we include that here. But that's not to take anything away from the Cheetah. He's been amazing for the Miami Dolphins. But yes, the Dolphins could benefit from rebuilding the offensive line. So, all right, get your questions in, because up next we got that Ask Anything mailbag, which is always a pleasure to answer all of your questions. We got some good ones, Chip. I love that. And just in case you're just joining us, we got 75 people watching. Are up. What just happened? Chip, am I still with you? Oh, we're back. We're off the rails, baby. Live TV, live YouTube. This is what it's all about. You just got to know how to adapt, baby. It's like dropping into coverage. All of a sudden, it's a check down route, and you got to break down, and you got to go make the tackle on 3rd down. That's what it's all about. Did we lose anybody? Everything went black on our end. Let me know in the chat if you're still here. Type me. Type me so I know I'm not talking to nobody. Type me.
We still here.
Chip, this is making me nervous, man. Nobody's typing me.
There we go.
There we go. All right. Woo. All right, Firefighter 841, Jake, I heard a rumor that Tua will be our starter for 3 to 5 more years. Yeah, that's probably what it's going to be. I've said 4-year, $180 million contract, $100 million guarantee. That would lower the cap hit in 2024 by about $10 million, which you want to have. And again, with one of the most accurate passers in the NFL, with one of the quickest releases per Peyton Manning. Don't forget, when Tua was at the Pro Bowl over the last weekend, Peyton Manning was just gushing over Tua, saying how quick of a release he has. All right. I got enough people saying me that we're here, right? We're here? All righty. We're down to 65 viewers, though. That one hurts. That one hurts. Da, da, da. That one hurts. That one hurts. Chad Jones says the O-line is going to suck this year because Tua is going to get signed and 10 players on the team making $200 million. Yeah, that's the nature of the NFL, though. I don't think the offensive line is going to suck this year. You got Austin Jackson for sure. Teron Armstead, as long as he doesn't retire and as long as he stays healthy. And maybe it's Kendall Lamb. Maybe it's Lester Cotton if Connor Williams and Robert Hunt don't re-sign. But either way, maybe you draft another guy I've talked about it, is Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon, if he's still available in the first round. In fact, that was who I was planning on picking when I did my mock draft simulator, but Laiatu Latu was there, and he's the 14th best prospect according to Mel Kiper. So if the 14th best prospect is around at pick number 21, how can you pass, right? All right, shout out to Rex Garten watching in Fort Dodge, Iowa. Oh, yeah, Chad Jones makes a good point. Rob Hunt or Connor Williams. Connor Williams, I've backed Connor Williams. I love Connor Williams. So what if you re-sign Connor Williams, you franchise tag Christian Wilkins, and then find a way to re-sign Andrew Van Ginkel, and the odd man out for that might be Jerome Baker, which we talked about. If you haven't watched our cut candidates video, it's up on the channel, and I made some tough decisions about this Dolphins roster yet on yesterday's video. So make sure you check out our cut candidates video. Sherry May wants more run game and wants it bad. Well, that's interesting because for a while the Dolphins had one of the top rushing attacks. It definitely did fall off down the stretch and to the latter portion of the season. So I will give you that. But I think if Devon Achane stays healthy all of next year, combined with Raheem Mostert coming off an all-time great season and an all-time great season for the Dolphins as a franchise. He passed Ricky Williams' rushing touchdown record last year. I think there's a lot of belief in the run game, and this can be a really good running game. I did say, though, yesterday we got to cut Jeff Wilson Jr., as much as that pains me. You cut him, and then that third running back position goes to Chris Brooks, who showed a lot as the undrafted rookie out of BYU. All right. Firefighter, don't worry. Chubb will be back. He's still got 2 more years on his contract. Oh, boy. I got another sneeze coming. Chip, what's standard operating procedure when you've just got a sneeze building up?
Man, just snag that headset off real quick, get it in real quick.
It's like a little dab, right?
It's a natural human, we all sneeze.
Yeah, there you go. We
all sneeze.
When I worked in radio, there was always that cough button. And they couldn't see your face, so.
Yeah.
All righty. Without further ado, everybody got their mailbag questions in. Let me know. Chip, how we doing on the mailbag side of things?
I believe we're good to go. We might have room for another couple questions if people want to get theirs in right now.
Yeah.
But we do got enough. We do got enough. Of course. The more we get, the more we can answer. So if you got some right now, we'll get into this. But if you have some, make sure you use #Dolphins. If you don't use #Dolphins, we can't answer your question.
Yeah, we gotta use that #Dolphins.
Gotta use the hashtag so I can get you up here on the show. Just like Champion right there.
Shout out Champion. He's a real one, man.
That's
you gotta love it.
We'll get that question on the show, Champion. Don't you worry.
I'm just gonna wear this helmet the rest of the segment.
That would be something. That would be something.
Rumors. All right, let's get the mailbag going in 5, 4, 3. Chip, you good? 2, 1. It's an Ask Anything mailbag, and recording this on a Wednesday, so if anything comes a little bit outdated, maybe a move happens, just scroll on through and go on to the next question, because there are a lot of great questions here on this edition of Dolphins Today and Ask Anything mailbag, and we begin with James Anderson, and we're going to go with Ricky Williams. I love it, using that hashtag Dolphins. Who's a player to watch for the Dolphins next year? Great question, because I think with some of the coaching staff changes, and especially on the defensive side of things, it's going to add an element of opportunity, if you will. And I immediately think of cornerback Cam Smith, because he was a second-round pick last year. Obviously, with the Dolphins not having a first-round pick last year, that was their first pick off the board. They used it on a cornerback out of South Carolina, Cam Smith, and we never got to see if he could play. He played only in garbage time. Vic Fangio never gave him a chance. Vic Fangio was not a fan of his. And now with the new regime on the defensive side of the ball, with Anthony Weaver coming to coach and Joe Barry, new linebackers coach, perhaps it will provide an opportunity for Cam Smith to show what he can do. And a lot of times I've been critical of Cam Smith and said, figure it out, man. Come on, rookie. And I've been reminded that, hey, he wasn't really given an opportunity by Vic Fangio. And so now with Anthony Weaver calling the shots as the defensive coordinator, maybe we'll finally get a chance to see if Cam Smith can live up to the second-round pick potential that the Dolphins invested in him in that 2023 NFL draft. So I've got Cam Smith under the microscope from the cornerback position. This one's from James Anderson. What's the Dolphins' biggest need in the draft? Great question, and it's exciting because, as I mentioned, the Dolphins do have a first-round draft pick for the first time in 3 years. 7 picks in total. I beg your pardon, 6 picks in total. They have 2 in the 6th round because they don't have a third-round pick or a fourth-round pick. And so when you start to fill out that big board and what the position of needs are, I think first and foremost you got to look up front at the offensive line, because Connor Williams and Rob Hunt are both question marks as their free agents. Will they be re-signed? And the injury bug was a huge component of the conversation with the Miami Dolphins last year. Connor Williams obviously lost for the season. Teron Armstead was in and out. The Dolphins had over 12 different starting offensive line combinations. So beefing up that offensive line room will be so important. The same can be said about the linebacker and edge position. Obviously, Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb are 2 dynamic, game-changing type players, but they've both been injured. Jalen Phillips blew out the Achilles against the New York Jets on Black Friday, and then in Week 17, it was Bradley Chubb going down with a torn ACL. 2 critical blows to the Dolphins' edge room. And you add Andrew Van Ginkel to that conversation because he really overachieved, had his best season of his career, but is a free agent in 2024. So you got to re-sign Andrew Van Ginkel. But even then, your linebacker and edge room is certainly in need of some reinforcements through the draft. Throw in Jerome Baker. He's a free agent. He might not be back with the team in 2024. So you really want to shore up that linebacker and edge rusher room, because getting pressure on the quarterback is so crucial to the success of any defense in the National Football League. Wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, arguably the best 1-2 punch in the NFL, but a significant drop-off after that. When you consider the prolific offense that Mike McDaniel and Frank Smith intend to run, and that prolific offense we saw at the beginning portion of the season, think back to Week 3 with the 70 points over the Denver Broncos, it was an air raid offense, but Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle accounted for over 60% of the receiving production. So they need some help in that wide receiver room. Defensive line's interesting because I thought all season the Dolphins got excellent play out of their defensive line. Career year for Christian Wilkins, career year for Zach Zeeler, and they had the 3rd most sacks in the NFL, but there was not any depth at the defensive line. And that's a position group. You're constantly rotating guys. You're constantly needing fresh bodies in there for the hog mollies up front. So I think the defensive line could use some reinforcements behind Christian Wilkins and Zach Zeeler. And Christian Wilkins is a free agent, so there's no guarantee he'll be back in 2023 and 2024. But last but certainly not least, the cornerback room specifically, because if you watched our cut candidate video, I'm in favor of the Dolphins cutting Xavier Howard because he's one of the highest paid players for the Dolphins. I think he's lost a step. He's battled injuries, and the production doesn't necessarily match the paycheck, they could save a ton of money by cutting Xavier Howard and building the cornerback room up through the draft. All right, let me know what you think down in the comments. What's the Dolphins' biggest draft need? I told you my biggest needs, but I want to hear from you. What position do the Dolphins need to focus on the most in the upcoming NFL draft? Question coming in from Tim B. Can we extend Tua's contract for 1 year and reevaluate him then? Now, that would essentially mean franchise tagging him, but he's already has his 5th-year rookie option that's been exercised, so he's under contract for 1 more year. So, Tim, if you want to do the prove-it year, if you will, then the 5th-year option, I think, is a better option than the franchise tag, which is a 1-year deal. But with the 5th-year option that's already been exercised, Tua then plays the 5th year of his rookie deal, set to make about $23.2 million. And the Dolphins being in the cap situation that they are, $23 million for one player, even if it is your quarterback, is a lot. If they restructured his deal and set it up for a long-term deal with multiple years in that offer, they could save a lot of money. And I think the biggest part of the conversation around Tua prior to this season was, hey, can he even stay healthy? Can he even play 17 games? He did that. He led the NFL in passing. He had the 3rd best passer rating. He had the 2nd most yards per attempt. He checked a lot of the boxes for me. And again, I just caution everybody, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Tua can lead this team. He's shown he can have success with Mike McDaniel. And yes, the Dolphins need to take a step forward in 2024. I'll be the first to tell you that. I'll be the first to tell you they also had the longest postseason winless streak in the National Football League. That needs to change. But I think Tua gives you the best opportunity to change that narrative by leading the Dolphins under center as the quarterback of the Aqua and Orange. All right, want to give a huge shout out to today's presenting sponsor, Game Time, the only ticketing app you'll need because they guarantee the lowest price. And Riepma, stop right there. That's all I need to know. But oh yeah, they take the stress out of buying tickets as well. It's your one-stop shop for all live events. That includes concerts too. Maybe you're trying to get your groove on. And for new customers, we've got $20 off when you download the app. Use that promo code FINSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. And oh yeah, by the way, the big game's coming up. I don't know if you've heard, but that big game's coming right up, and Game Time wants to help new and existing customers out with tickets to the big game, saving you $100 when you use that promo code Vegas100. And think of the possibilities with that $100, what you could do in Vegas. Don't even get me started. Maybe it's another round at the roulette table, or how about another hand of blackjack? And oh yeah, $100 is $100. Maybe it's just your Uber ride or something. Either way, saving $100 is a big deal. Game Time's here to help you out. And don't forget about hoop season. The NBA trade deadline coming right up. The Miami Heat putting together that Heat culture squad. If you want to get out to the arena and check out the Miami Heat, Game Time is the best app to use as well. So don't worry. We put the link in the comments and description of today's video because we love you and we care about you. But download that Game Time app. Use the promo code FINSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. And as always, terms do apply, but download that Game Time app. $20 off when you use promo code FINSCHAT. And $100 off to tickets to the big game with promo code Vegas100. You're welcome from Game Time, taking the stress out of buying tickets, the only ticketing app you'll need for the lowest price, guaranteed. Now, Champion asks a great question here. Do you think we should get Henry, referring to Derrick Henry? And it's one of those things, sounds good on a billboard, on a PowerPoint, gets the fan base excited, and it's also one of those things, you look into it, do you really need it? Is that the best way to allocate funds? I don't think so. I think a running back at the back nine of his career, getting a little bit long in the tooth. Not to say he doesn't have any production left, because I do think he'll continue to be a productive running back in this league, but you're going to have to pay him as a free agent. He's an established running back. He's put up the numbers. He's going to demand a superstar contract, albeit at the running back position, which is generally regarded as one of the lower paying positions. But at the end of the day, this is a Dolphins team that's going to be 40 to 50 million in the hole when the new league year starts in March. And because of that, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to pour that into a running back that at best might be a third string running back for you, because he's not taking carries from Raheem Mostert. He's not taking carries from Devon Achane. And there you have it. He'd be a short yardage, third and fourth down back, and that's a hefty price to pay for Derrick Henry for a limited role. So, unfortunately, sounds great. It'd be an awesome headline. I'd be excited about it because I do think this might be crazy, but I think he has the numbers to at least be considered as a future Hall of Famer. Maybe not quite to that level, but point being, yeah, obviously he's an established running back in this league and will make a huge headline wherever he lands, but I don't think it'd be in the Dolphins' best interest for it to be in Miami. From Firefighter 841, predict the record for the next season. Okay. Let me get my prediction hat on. And let's start in the division, because I think the Bills are going to be good again, obviously. It'll be interesting to see if something happens with Stephon Diggs. But anytime you got Josh Allen in the division, that's of note. The Patriots, depending on how and who they draft, a lot of people think they'll draft a quarterback, so that adds a whole nother wrinkle when you got a rookie quarterback. Aaron Rodgers coming back for the Jets, that's going to be tough. And so I do think it's going to be an uphill battle, but I see this as a team that needs to have their expectations set on the playoffs and playoff wins. So like last year and any year for that matter, I think you got to get to 11 to 12 wins to have a chance at the division and be in the conversation. And so I'll say maybe 11-6, get into the playoffs and win a playoff game. How about that? And if they draft well, undefeated. I'm just kidding around. All right, Sherry May, great question here. Free agent wide receivers to keep an eye on. T. Higgins is probably the biggest name out of Cincinnati. I don't see the Dolphins making a big splash signing for a free agent wide receiver because they have such an established 1-2 punch with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I do think they might at least consider and investigate what restructuring Tyreek Hill's contract might look like, especially when they have to save so much money when the new league year starts. But I don't think you add a big free agent wide receiver name to that rotation. I think the Dolphins would benefit more from some role players at the number 3 spot of the wide receivers, maybe even a pass-catching tight end through the draft. I talked about maybe a luxury pick in the first round for the Dolphins, going with Brock Bowers out of Georgia. That would be a lot of fun because he'd add a whole nother element to the passing game. And not to take anything away from Durham Smythe, but I think a dynamic tight end in Mike McDaniel's system would go a long way. And I really don't see the Dolphins testing the wide receiver free agent market. All right, from Champion 2038, do you think we should draft a wide receiver and develop him so that when Hill leaves next year, we have a solid wide receiver? I don't think Tyreek Hill's leaving. I really do get the feeling that he wants to finish his career in Miami. I think the relationship with Tua speaks to that as well. They seem like best friends. The production's been there. And Tyreek Hill would benefit from staying in Miami when you have a play calling coach like Mike McDaniel that knows how to get him the ball, knows how to get him the ball in space. And look at the damage he did for the Miami Dolphins this past season. Nearly broke Calvin Johnson's record of most receiving yards in a single season. Obviously led the NFL in that department and led the NFL in receiving touchdowns as well. As far as drafting a wide receiver, yeah, I do like that idea. And I've talked about that in a previous mock draft, that there is a lot of wide receivers to be targeting and maybe some that might even be available in the second round. There's a lot of wide receivers a couple wide receivers from Texas, A.D. Mitchell, a guy that could be available in the second round that might make an impact for the Dolphins through the passing game. And when you look at the wide receivers in this draft class as a whole, there's a lot of guys that might fall through the cracks even into the 4th and 5th rounds that might be game-changing players. Look at Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Lions, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. He was a 4th-round pick. So there's plenty of stories like that. I just pointed to him because he was an all-pro as a 4th-round pick. And the potential that wide receivers can have in the right system, you can find some hidden gems in the draft. All right, Tua's touchdowns. What's going to happen with Tua? Well, if you've been with us on Dolphins Today, you know that's been a lengthy topic of discussion. And for me, it's real simple. You offer him a 4-year deal, $180 million, 100 of it guaranteed. Certainly not the most lucrative contract in the NFL for quarterbacks, but certainly enough to show Tua's camp, to show the organization, this is our guy. We're putting it on him, and he is the future of the organization. He's proven that he can stay healthy. He's proven that he can have a big year statistically. Now it's about proving and going out and winning those games the Dolphins might not be favored in, those games against teams with winning records, playoff games, road games, and so on and so forth. And I think he's done enough to at least warrant the belief in Tua Tagovailoa and see if he can do it within the next couple of years. From Christine Wilkerson, what do you make of the new staff changes on defense? Great question. So this is a good opportunity to catch everybody up on some of the staff changes, because the Miami Dolphins have hired Joe Barry, the Packers' former defensive coordinator, as their linebackers coach. So he replaces Anthony Campanile. In fact, it was just a little coach swap because Campanile goes to Green Bay. And most importantly, calling the shots on defense will be Anthony Weaver, the new defensive coordinator for the Dolphins. He comes over from the Baltimore Ravens organization, where he was the associate head coach under John Harbaugh and also the defensive line coach. And I like the hire of Anthony Weaver. I think there were a lot of really good candidates out there when Vic Fangio left to go to Philadelphia. All of a sudden, you started doing the research and seeing, hey, Brandon Staley is out there. Hey, Chris Shula's out there. Hey, you had some good internal candidates with Anthony Campanile and Ryan Slowick. Both of them were not afforded the opportunity. They're both out, and so it's out with the old, in with the new, and I'm excited for the future of the Dolphins defense. I hope Anthony Weaver can bring an element of grittiness, a little bit of an edge to the Dolphins defense that they certainly lacked in the latter portion of 2023. Make some personnel changes, build through the draft, and have a vaunted defense in 2024 under Anthony Weaver. But, hey, that's my take. I want to hear from you. Grade the hire of Dolphins' new defensive coordinator, Anthony Weaver. Let me know down in the comments. A, B, C, or D. You got to let me know. I want to know and hear from you what you think of the hiring of Anthony Weaver. All right, we got a lot of people weighing in on this one. As always, that's going to do it for our Ask Anything mailbag. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, this was on Wednesday of this week, so if there's anything outdated, just scroll on past. As always, thanks so much for tuning in to Dolphins Today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because we're always bringing you the latest in NFL free agency, Dolphins draft talk, and everything else covering the Aqua and Orange. That's why you subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Dolphins Today. All right, how's everyone doing? Yeah. Woo! Let's get it up in here. Let's go. What a show. My throat is getting a little sore. You know, you just talk, and good news. I got the Dolphins fuel in here.
Gotta stay hydrated. How did y'all enjoy the show? Rate the show as a whole. A,
oh,
B,
that's
C,
dangerous.
D, or F. How was the show as a whole?
Yeah. Let us know. We got 56 people watching, and hey, for those 56 people that have stuck around, we got a deal of the day. Instead of a $50 super chat to get your name on the helmet, we are going to lower it for the next minute, half off. Half off, $25 super chat if you want a chance to win this Dolphins helmet. It's the Riepma deal of the day. $25 to get your name on a sticker that goes on the helmet. And again, this is our off-season giveaway item, one of 3. We also have the Dan Marino bobblehead for the Venmo. Let me see if anyone has Venmo'd on in. And we do not have a Venmo. Okay. All right. That's good stuff right there. The Venmo for the Dan Marino bobblehead. Great stuff. Oh, yeah, Sherry May, our show effing rocks. I love it.
Yeah, Sherry May.
Shout out to Sherry May. All right. And the last one, that February MVP, who's going home with the Dolphins jersey? All right. We got about 30 seconds left on the Riepma deal of the day. I like this one from Dr. Dummy Beta. I may be crazy, but can we trade down in the first round but stay in the first round, like trade from 21 and 25 for more picks like a second in this year's draft? I don't know specifically to move down in the first round to build up enough capital in that second and third round, but I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Grier pulls the trigger on trading some picks in order to claim or obtain a third and or fourth round pick, because to pick in the second round then not pick again until the fifth round, that's not great. And that's where the Dolphins currently are right now. Thanks a lot, Sean Payton. And who else is in that tampering case? Tom Brady? Yeah, all good stuff. Okay, 30 seconds left if you want to get in on the Riepma deal of the day. Otherwise, we are moving on out of here. We got a lot of work to do yet here at Chat Sports HQ. And I appreciate everybody tuning in to Dolphins Today. How about a round of applause for Jake Chipper producing today's show? And I promised I wasn't going to bring up the opening, but hey, it seems like a great time, man. It seems like a great time to bring it up.
Who was here that saw that? I'm curious who saw
that. Yeah, who saw us stumble out of the blocks a little bit? You know what, Chip? When I was producing radio, I had so many mess-ups, man. They called me Red Light Riepma because if we weren't on air, the red light would start flashing, and I sometimes took us off the air on by mistake. There's Red Light Riepma again.
Yeah, Kristen saw that. F Chip in the chat.
Yeah, no, let's reenact it for the people just in case. So you normally got the little the little intro screen coming up, and I always smile into the camera. Hey, I'm ready to go. And then all of a sudden I was smiling, and there's my face. And hey, Chip's like, yo, you're live, man. You're live. We're live. We're on the. It reminded me of the movie Rookie.
We were so excited.
That's right.
So excited.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year when R.I.P. John Candy's like, we're on the air. We're on the air.
You're live.
All right. Shout out Chris Boyd. Shout out Chad Jones, Sherry May, Kristen Reinhart, Dr. Dummy Beta, Firefighter, Tim B, and everybody that stuck around till the end. Love you guys. And remember, next live show is on Wednesday, but make sure you tune into the channel leading up to that. Lots of great stuff as always. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you next time on Dolphins Today.